It's difficult to overstate how saturated the Bluetooth/active speaker market is these days, so to stand out, you gotta really do something a little bit special. Introducing the Roth VA4s. They're a pair of active speakers with line in, Bluetooth, optical in, and they must have heard the llamas calling because it comes with a built-in preamp for your turntable. The VA4s also come with a sub-out and a rather convenient addition of a USB charger output so that you can juice up your smartphone or your tablet while you rock and or roll. I give this a big hoof up. Volume is controlled by a knob on the back, and the second slave speaker in the pair is connected with a simple pair of speaker cables. So they're certainly feature packed, but what about sex appeal? Aesthetically, there's not a huge amount to write home about here. The Roths come in 3 different colours. They come in red, we've got here, black and white. Only the front fascia changes, and the side panels or the rest of the cabinet is in a simple wood grain finish in black. I actually quite like it in the nice cute red colour. It's nice and bright and friendly, and it's not overly pretentious or trying too hard to be something it isn't. That sounds a bit, go on, I'll say it, like they're kind of like a cute little puppy, rather over the top. Sometimes gets a bit out of control, but you kind of love them anyway. The remote allows for volume control and channel selection and tone control as well. It also allows you to pair Bluetooth devices, which goes swimmingly. Gone are the days of Bluetooth pairing existentialist crises, thank God for that. We've already gone over the delightfully petite dimensions in the intro, so let's talk a little bit about spec. And these bad lads can pump out 40 watts per channel, although it does say in the specs that that's at about 0.1% of total harmonic distortion, which is quite a lot, so realistically it's a little bit less power than that. That power is being delivered through a pair of 4-inch woofers at the bottom for all the low end and mids and all that, and the top end is powered through a pair of 1-inch tweeters. And the frequency response of these speakers is rated from between 60 Hz to 20 kilohertz. As I mentioned during the intro, if there's any way for a set of speakers like this to poke through the long grasses and stand out for we vinyl loving llamas, then by incorporating a phono stage, by Jove, I think they've done it. I picture these speakers being perfect in a small room as your primary or even your secondary system, where you want the simplicity and compactness of small speakers, but you don't want to compromise on quality of having a turntable with a built-in preamp, which often aren't that good. That means you can very easily connect a lower end or higher end project or Rager turntable to something like this, and it's got the preamp, so you don't need any extra boxes to make it more complicated. It's probably worth me pointing out as well that the preamp built into these speakers can be switched off, so if you've got a record player that has a good preamp in, you can kind of snuggle them together quite nicely. The quality of the preamp in these speakers is impressive as well. It's not going to go toe-to-toe with a dedicated phono stage, and it's not going to go toe-to-toe with the very best of the phono preamps built into a dedicated amplifier, but it definitely has a good degree of punch. So, how do these little speakers sound in general? I have a few mixed emotions about these speakers. Love, hate, despair, wonder, dismay, arousal. The Roth VA4s are fine speakers. They extract a worthy degree of detail from the music, and the soundstage provides you with an enjoyable perspective of instrument placement and 3D space. If there's one problem these speakers have, is that they are a little bit on the small side, and because of that they can sometimes sound a little small and be decidedly light on bass, something that's admittedly not unique to any kind of small speaker. You can crank it up with a little bit of EQ, but it rapidly devolves into somewhat of a rumbly low-end mess. If you're not a massive bass head, however, you can probably forgive this one flaw as a trade-off between scale, price, and sound quality. The mids and the top end are really solid, and the top end especially manages to avoid being particularly brittle sounding, which is an issue for so many inexpensive speakers. Sometimes it can sound a little bit unrefined, and a greater degree of clarity would occasionally be quite nice. If that all sounds a little bit day to day, then have your Sunday best ready, because rhythmically these speakers are kind of astounding. Speakers this small shouldn't create this sense of drive and momentum. It's just bizarre. They can go toe to toe in that sense with speakers that are considerably more expensive. They just get your feet moving. I know this sounds ridiculous. It's pretty awesome to get something enjoyable in that way from a pair of piddly little £200 speakers. Going back and listening to a lot of classic Iron Maiden records reminded me why I love that band, with a good old like kick and gallop along. And then listening to Baseku Coyote, and I have no idea if I've pronounced his names right, his African grooves don't really need much help in making them danceable and getting your feet moving, but the Roths really bring them to life, and that's a pretty blooming good feat. So even if you don't get floored by the bass with these speakers, you're definitely going to get your body moving. Primarily it's their versatility and great selection of inputs, and obviously the Phono stage being a primary one of them, that makes them worth my recommendation. Let's get it straight then. These speakers are really good. I wouldn't quite call them class leaders, but their versatility and functionality, particularly for vinylites, should ensure that they're worth checking out. So tell me in the comments what you think about these, and what do you think of the idea of speakers with Phono stages built into them. I think it's a cool idea. It's a fairly niche one, but I think it's great for vinyl addicts and nutters like us lot. So I hope you've enjoyed this Audiollama review of the Roth VA4s. They're a really cool, little, interesting set of speakers. I do hope you like them. Thank you very much for watching this video. Click the links over here to watch other brilliant Audiollama videos. Give me a like if you've enjoyed this, and do click the big old subscribe button down below if you want to see more videos from my stupid face. Goodbye.